How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Master Beer Reviews, back to yet another review. Bourbon Barrel Aged Russian Imperial Stout time, son. In the form of the Great Lakes Brewing. It's their 30th anniversary. Look at that. Great Lakes Brewing. Who would have thunk it? The Great Lakes Brewing. Why do I say that? Because there's a Great Lakes in the States, and I like to be weird and shit. Yeah, for those that are not well-versed in the whole top hat of America and how their beers roll up there, they don't have to play by our rules. They're their own country. They're allowed to do their own things, and they have a brewery called Great Lakes Brewing. We have ours of Chill Wave, Elliot Ness, whatever you want to call it, Blackout Stout fame. But they have their own brewery up there, and it's quite nice. I've had a bunch of their beers, whether it be kind of given to me or when I kind of travel up Canada way. And this was actually sent to me by Yort Strange Bruisings on the YouTubes, Drinky Poo in the Instagrams. Yeah, he sent us off with a bunch of barrel-aged Gigantor huge beers, and thank you very much, dude. So I really am looking forward to reviewing this because I just seen it, and I really dig the label on this fucking thing. So yeah, I'm kind of tickled pink about reviewing it, so there you go. Let's dive into it. I mean, stop talking and shit and drink that stuff. As far as what it says on the label here, Great Lakes Brewery, 30th anniversary. It's a bourbon barrel aged Russian Imperial Stout. It's brewed with cold brew coffee, vanilla beans, and cocoa. Brasserie of café, fruit, grains de vanille, and cacao. I butchered all that for you French-speaking folk out there. And on the back here it says, Russian Imperial Stout, we near the end of a 30th anniversary. We bring you this deceptively luscious Russian Imperial Stout. Thank you for all your support. 30 years of GLB. February 12th marked our 30th anniversary to celebrate. This is exactly what we do every year. Brewed a whole bunch of specialty malt batch releases, but this time we packaged them in a fancy new bottle. Yes, this is real gold leaf. Fancy. Here's doing another 30 years. So I don't know how old this is. They talk about it being February 2017. They brewed stuff up and then they packaged it. I don't know if this was like in the container February 12th, which would make it just about a year old in the bottle, or they kind of brewed it, put it in a barrel, let it sit, and then they packaged it and it's not that old. I do not know. Nor do I care. Well, I kind of care, but at the same time, yeah. Label-wise, like I said, I'm a sucker for screen printing. And this kind of, black and gold combination and how it's done and laid out, it kind of makes me kind of a little bit excited and the kind of man bits and pieces. So, yeah, something about it. Just the way it's done. This is labeling right here. This is classy, straight to the point. Fucking no frills. We're making good beer. We're not fucking around labeling. So, guess what? I like it. Could you tell? So, yeah. Oh, come to me, baby. Give the old salad pour there so that way you can hear it. Let's see. What else about this? Extra strong beer, 11.9% alcohol by volume, and they are Queen Elizabeth Boulevard, Toronto. See, I didn't know Great Lakes was in Toronto. I did not know that. And I know Queen Elizabeth Boulevard, too. I've driven that many times, so, yeah, there you go. You learn something new. It looks like Stalton's cold brew coffee, and they tell you to serve it at 8 to 10 degrees Celsius, whatever the hell Celsius is. And, yeah. Done and done. Anyway, what do we have? We have Half and Pinky Finger, just south where I like my coffee to look like, just north of that malted malt pulp thing. And she'd be dark, not the darkest beer in the history of mankind, but she'd be a stout. She'd be a stout. So she's looking the part so far. Smelly poo. Oh yeah, buddy. Man. See, I've been having. I'm gonna have. This is confession time. So this is gonna be a long one. So if you don't like these long-winded reviews, then I don't know why you're watching me to begin with. I've been having a really hard time with cinnamon as of late. I don't know why. There's been a couple beers where I've whiffed completely on cinnamon, and I've been trying to figure it out. And I think I do know why now. I didn't know why. I should have said that instead of I don't know why. I'm a cinnamon junkie, and I the same breakfast every morning. A bowl of oatmeal. A little bowl of oatmeal. That's all I eat. You would think I eat more. I'm a big dude. But that's all I eat. But I have this tub, gigantic tub of cinnamon. And I just load it up. So I think I've kind of blown my fucking sensory out for cinnamon. Now, they don't talk about cinnamon on here. They talk about cold brew coffee, vanilla beans, and cocoa added. But I kind of, now with me kind of overthinking the room here, I kind of get like a cinnamon thing in here. Yeah, I'm getting that cinnamon thing. I'm starting to like, I'm being more purposeful of being conscious about what cinnamon smells like. I've been kind of testing myself. And I kind of think there's cinnamon in this, but they don't talk about putting cinnamon in it. So now I'm all fucking freaked out and I'm weird. So anyway. So I'm getting like cinnamon vibes. And I'm getting a sweet, rich maltiness. Not much bitterness to it. I'm getting a barrel chariness. Very subtle. Nothing too crazy. The vanilla definitely is playing a part. The coffee is there. But again, it's thin. For me, it's that kind of spicy, kind of vanilla thing. Now, is that just some kind of weird flavor I'm getting from the barrel? Could be. But it's almost like it's like trying to fuck with me now. You know, with the cinnamon stuff. The whiskey, the bourbon, it's soft, sweet cherry, nothing too boozy. It actually smells pretty drinkable. It smells more spiced and I won't even call it sweet. Just kind of decadent, rich, not sweet, if that makes any sense. It smells awesome. I'm gonna drink it. Cheers. That's tasty. At first, I didn't think I was going to dig it. It comes off a little bit hot. A little bit hotter than I think it would. Right now, it's actually killing me. A little heartburn. So it definitely comes off a little bit hot. And it comes off a little bit thinner than I think it would. Or maybe it's more like I hope it would. But it has this nice kind of like soda, like sprightly carbonation to it. Just kind of on end. I don't really kind of digging at weird angles here. And the coffee comes off, like, since it has zero bitterness to it, being that it's cold brewed, combined with, I think, the kind of, the Imperial Stout base isn't overtly bittering, whether it be from a bittering malt or a bittering hop. You're not getting a ton of what you'd expect mentally from those kind of things. Now, I think the spirit and I think the vanilla don't come off as sweet as they should. But since the bittering of the malt and the bittering of the coffee aren't as big, it kind of makes up ground there. I think that's where this kind of like thinness in my brain is coming from. It drinks more like soda to me. The actual stout. But it's not super thin. But it's not super dense by any means. The bourbon is starting to open up. It's getting a little bit warmer. I can kind of smell it more in the nose. I'm getting a nice kind of barrel char off it. Kind of like smoky, slightly kind of baker's chocolate kind of barrel char. Ends up being pretty much that to a T. With a nice kind of cherry vibe coming from it now. Starting to open a little bit more. I don't know if it's me or what. Because it's not that long for it to kind of warm up. Maybe it's just a matter of kind of like a pseudo kind of decanting kind of thing. To where I'm starting to get a lot more kind of cherry from it. And that's a Russian Imperial Stout thing. When you land a Russian Imperial Stout the right way, that's what I get in a lot of Russian Imperial Stouts. Whether it be like your Courage's, your Black Albert, things like that. The OG Russian Imperials usually have this kind of rich cherry note to it. That's in there. It's a fun beer. It's more complex than a lot of kind of just bourbon barrel aged, this and that and the other thing kind of beers. There's a lot of layers to this. It's approachable, at the same time kind of confusing and kind of exciting. I don't know what to make of it, but let's put it this way. Shots fired might be the best Great Lakes beer I've had either side of the country. Great Lakes US, man. Sorry to say it, but I think the weirdo Canadians got you beat here. It's tasty. I don't know why I'm more enthused about it. I think it's more because I'm trying to process what's going on. So, you definitely get beer. That's the most important portion of the show. Sometimes when you're talking about adding, your chocolate, your vanilla, bourbon, all that kind of stuff thrown on in their coffee, sometimes you're running the risk of losing the beer. You're not losing that here. The beer definitely is still there. That's nice. The coffee, being that it's cold brew, doesn't come off super impactful, but it kind of adds an added layer to that maltiness, almost like a super ultra rich coffee malt base, as opposed to just this huge coffee beer. Vanilla adds a bit of kind of a nice added confectionery sweetness to it. The chocolate just, again, kind of beefs up a little bit of that kind of maltiness, makes it a bit more richer, more denser. It's not like a super in-your-face flavor, or the barrel has a nice charriness to it, to where just enough to where it gives you a little smoky, kind of like savory umami vibes to it, while the bourbon doesn't come off boozy, but adds this kind of combination of cherry thing with the kind of Russian Imperial Stout. I believe you're getting a little bit of that cherry from the beer and a little bit from that bourbon. It's a fun beer. It's a complex beer, probably one of the more complex kind of barrel-aged stouts I've had in a while. I could probably drink this and talk about it for another 20 minutes or so. I probably could, because I think it would change with heat and kind of just open up and just bring different things to the table. So it's a fun beer. It's when you're talking about the kind of patriarchy world, the kind of pastry stout world, the bigger barrel-aged kind of in-your-face stout world, they tend to be a bit kind of abrasive, a bit kind of, Neanderthal-like, to where they're a bit more beer and then just punch in the face. This is kind of like that added package, that kind of LeBron James, Walter Payton, Bo Jackson kind of thing, where they can bring deft agility while at the same time being infinitely powerful. So it's like, it's the best of both worlds. So these are the kind of beers, when you start getting that kind of bourbon barrel-aged, big, huge stout, mixed stouty stuff, this is the stuff that kind of just interests me to no end. And it's delicious, and it sucks that I only have one. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better barrel-aged stouts I've had as of late. Yes, I don't know if it's the best, even after me kind of waxing poetic about it. It's still kind of, I want to process the whole thing before I kind of say where this lands for me, but it's up there, let's put it that way. Value and availability, I don't know, maybe you'll chime in, or any of the Canadian fellas, and leave you with, if you like what we like this, if you like beer, if you like well-made beer, if you like complex beer, if you like barrel-aged stouts, if you like Great Lakes, the best Great Lakes brewing, the Canadian Great Lakes brewing, sorry Brad, I have a friend who's a rep at Great Lakes, so he's probably going to watch this. Sorry, dude. But yeah, no, if you like good, well-made beers with intent on what they're doing, because this is not just a bunch of shit thrown out of beer. They know what they're doing. They want this beer to come off this way. That's what it tastes like. So if you're into well-made beers, interesting beers, like I said, this is definitely worth checking out. So there you go, another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our review. If you didn't, anywhere in between, down our words and stuff and things. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Massive Beers, all four of those places if you want to check me out in the kind of social media worlds, in the kind of podcasting world, the audio world, the website world. Beer Massive, MASSIF.com, or Massif, as George would put it. I'm bringing up, I have a podcast now that I do. I used to do a radio show, I used to do a podcast, I do this. We're kind of taking little bits and pieces of that and bringing it to a new arena. A lot of brewer interviews, just actually interviewed 3 brewers this weekend. I interviewed James Priest from The Referend, Brian Eaton from Grist House Brewing at Pittsburgh, and I interviewed Matt Ziegler from Zigmeister Brewing in Hackettstown, New Jersey. So kind of jumping out there doing a bunch of brewer interviews and just kind of diving around and doing a bunch of fun stuff. So if you're into those kind of things, go check it out. Beer Massive. Podcasts on all the podcast stuff, iTunes, Stitcher, all that stuff, or you can go to the website, beermassive.com. And yeah, another review down. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying nice, beautiful Great Lakes beer right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.